Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smart ass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 33 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 33 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smart ass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey. And that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. You know, there are a lot of people out there still struggling with health and with addiction, even recovery. I want you to know someone is listening. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. I don't want you to feel alone, okay? If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. Please subscribe to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel, and you'll see a lot of cool shows on there. And listen, guys, if you truly, truly, truly can't afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. I want to give a shout out to just a couple of my sponsors today before I bring on my great guest. Okay, so I've got Ken Ryan and Linda Garofalo, The Way It Used to Be, singing songs from the 50s to the 80s, a tribute show to the greatest music and voices of all time. And Ken also does Elvis for me, baby. Thank you very much. And I want to give a big thank you to both of them because they do so many fundraisers. They're also doing another Toys for Tots. It's really beautiful. And then John Bishop, a.k.a. Johnny B., singer-songwriter, host of the Entertainment Luncheon South, a nonprofit network created for the creative. Facebook group page, Entertainment Luncheon South. He's also the partner in the Joey D. and Johnny B. Rockin' Oldies band. And I want to give a big shout out to him and his wife, Linny, because once a month they put on this incredible luncheon, invite only. It's $20. You get a great lunch and great music. Entertainers, amazing, and they don't keep a penny of it. And they also are doing a Toys for Tots next month. So thank you to both of them. And then today, last but certainly not least, Paula Ann, Ablaze Entertainment and Freedom Rings Festival, helping survivors of human trafficking to live a life of normalcy. The Geri Petito Show is also one of their sponsors, www.freedomringsfestival.com. Oh, 1 second, guys. I apologize. There's something else I wanted to read about what's going on with Paula. Okay. I almost forgot. I don't want to forget this. Okay? And I'm also a sponsor of her, for Paula Ann. Okay. Blaze Entertainment is proud to present Christmas for a Cause, helping all the victims of Hurricane Helene that devastated and destroyed, oh my gosh, how many counties, right? Within North and South Carolina, as well as Tennessee. So what they're doing is they're doing this to provide relief for those impacted by this serious, vicious storm. Okay, they've got donations you can donate to. They have so much going on, prepaid gift cards you can send. They need toiletries, medical supplies, non-perishable food items, right? Clothing. They need it all, guys. So if you want to do something great, send something to this address, 2416 Music Valley Drive, Nashville, Tennessee, 37214. Attention, LaDonna. Guys, if you want, reach out to me and I'll give you that address as well, okay? They have a donation box on their ticket page on Eventbrite as well. www.eventbrite.com. Christmas for a Cause tickets, okay? So please do that. And you can register at christmasforacause@gmail.com, info.christmasforacause@gmail.com, all right? Or the www.ablazeentertainment.net. So the reason why this is very important, guys, for everything that went on, but I've got an incredible guest here. His name is Justin Wright. And he's also going to be performing, I believe, at this event. Yes?
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Honored to be able to help and to be a part of this amazing event. And as you said before, Paula Ann does an amazing job. And when it comes time for there to be a cause out there to be met, she is top notch, and she's always there.
Yes. So everybody, this is Justin. Justin Wright, okay? Justin Wright and the Dirty Strings.
That's correct. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Let's start there, please. Tell us
Sure.
why it's called that.
Okay, well, obviously Justin Wright goes without saying. I'm a singer songwriter, so I put together a lot of music along with the Dirty Strings, to help me do arrangements and things like that. This actually started as a group of local musicians that got together, and really just we played a lot of close regional stuff and everything like that. And then of course everything progressed. We started getting to Nashville and started getting some traction. The name The Dirty Strings is actually reflective of two things. Number one, there's a lyric in a song of one of my favorite artists named Sturgill Simpson. He said, I don't have to change my strings because the dirt don't change the way I sing. And that really that's a really cool lyric that always jumps out to me. But the other thing is too, is our take on country music, rock. We're a country rock band. So our take is a little different. We take influences from, rock, blues, country, as well as grunge, the grunge movement, alternative music. So it's kind of a melting pot of things. And it's not that just traditional clean country that you hear. It's got a little dirt edge type to it. So hence the name The Dirty Strings.
Okay, so I like that. It has some dirt edge to it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I'm going to ask you to do something for me then, okay? This is off the cuff, guys. He doesn't even know I'm going to ask him. And you can say no.
Mercy.
You could say no, but I don't think you will. So, all right. Could you sing a cappella, even just like 30 seconds of traditional country, and then switch it to 30 seconds of with the dirty twist?
Sure. Okay.
All
So
right.
when I think traditional country, I think of all, the 70s, 80s classics and things like that. Let me think. It's off the cuff. Okay. So George Strait's considered traditional country, right?
I think so.
So yeah, I would say it doesn't get any more traditional country than that. So here's something a cappella traditional country for you. Let's see what I can do with it. I still feel 35 most of the time. I still raise a little Cain with the boys. Honky tonks and pretty women. Lord, I'm still right there with them, singing above the crowd and the noise. Sometimes I feel like Jesse James, still trying to make a name, knowing nothing's gonna change what I am. I was a young troubadour when I wrote in on a song. I'll be an old troubadour when I'm gone.
Okay, so hold that thought.
Sure.
So, all right, so that is definitely traditional country. That's country I know. And I've
Right.
heard different countries, like a little bit of rock, a little bit of modern, more country, blah, blah, blah. But I've never heard it with the dirty twist that you're talking about. So now sing a little of that.
Okay, this is a little piece of a single that I released, and I think you actually may play this later, but it's kind of a little dirt to it. A coyote's howling in the middle of nowhere. Life dealt a dirty hand, and it just ain't fair. I take out a shovel and I pass it over to you. I light me a cigarette and take a swig or two. What made you think You could give your love away. I guess you should have warned him. That's the price we'll pay. I had to make you an accessory to it all. Anyone finds out, we'll both take the fall. So it's got kind of that country element to it with a little bit of growl to it. I mean, it's and really, if you listen to the content's a little edgier too. So
That's pretty cool. All right, so thank you for doing that. And guys, he did not know I was going to ask him to
I
do
did
that.
not. I had no idea.
Okay, so that was pretty cool.
Right
So
on.
now, am I able to ask you your age?
Well, actually, Paul Ann was taken aback when she actually found out how old I am. I'm actually 44 years old, believe it or not.
Wait, I didn't know that. You're my daughter's age. You're still young to me, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So I've been performing and everything for several years. I've been songwriting for over 15 years now. And Jerry, it's that old adage, all it takes is for that one person to hear you and appreciate what you're doing and for things to really take off. And that's exactly what's happened. I've been doing this for years. And it just all of a sudden somebody, the right person found it and took it off. Whether Paula Ann actually saw something in me, brought me in for an event. I was actually not even one of Paula Ann's artists at the time. And she brought me into the country radio seminar and seminar week. And we played it. And, I had my apprehensions about how we would be accepted into Nashville, but they have absolutely opened their arms wide open to us. And, I think, nowadays Nashville country music by and large is kind of a melting pot of other influences. And it's kind of one of those things where I think we just hit at the right place at the right time.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes. Thank you for doing that, Paula Ann. I love Paula.
She's
All right, so now I have a question for you.
sure.
Again, I didn't realize you were my daughter's age. Now,
Sure.
growing up, who were some
Sure.
of your musical influences?
Absolutely. And I get asked that a lot. And my musical influences are so broad. And what I do is I generally, we got so many of them, but I do kind of hit different types of influences. Now, I'll go ahead and start with one of the ones that really people don't see coming. Prince is a huge musical influence of mine. And you wouldn't think that, country artists and everything like that, but it's his undeniable talent and his just what he's just a generational talent in terms of being able to arrange music and compose. Some of the traditional country artists, I even go further back. I'm a big Waylon Jennings fan. I was very heavily influenced in the grunge movement in the early to mid '90s. Had a very big influence on me as well. I mean, the heavy hitters of that genre, that genre. Nirvana, Soundgarden type of stuff like that. Even going into, as I got older, I started appreciating the independent artists, the ones that were really not necessarily the radio country people, if you will. I'm a huge Chris Stapleton fan as well. He's an undeniable talent as well. I mean, that's a name in country music that everybody knows. And but yeah, it's just like I said, that influences are extremely broad. I was raised up. I listened to a lot of Southern rock because that's what my dad listened to. And your standard Southern rock bands like Leonard Skinner, Marshall Tucker, they had quite an influence as well. So.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner, I loved.
Absolutely. They're just absolutely amazing. And I think that, a lot of people see I don't know, they don't really get into depth about how Leonard Skinner really came about and how their sound evolved. And that was one of the things that I really admire about Leonard Skinner and Ronnie Van Zant in particular. Because, people, my voice doesn't sound like Ronnie Van Zant, but when I perform on stage and the way I go about my business and how particular I am about arrangements and making sure that what we do is absolutely right in the way that I try to keep my band motivated and things like that, which doesn't take a lot to get them motivated. We've got a great group with us. A lot of people say people that knew Ronnie say you remind me a lot of Ronnie. But Ronnie was even in a stratosphere that I can't even touch, but they say some of your traits remind me. So that's kind of my Leonard Skinner tie there. So,
Okay. So can you quickly tell us the story you know about Leonard Skinner? Because I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you a story that it's out there, but it's not. I mean, people know about. There's a place called the Red House. It was in the middle of nowhere, basically not really a swamp, but had a river that ran around it, and that's where Leonard Skinner basically developed a lot of their songs. I mean, there's amazing stories that come out of. I mean, it was a red cinder block building in the middle of nowhere. Weeping willows, Spanish moss. I mean, it's what you would imagine like a swamp to be. Cypress trees and things of that nature. And in that building, that's where they would go and do everything. They would be in the middle of nowhere, and what they would do is Ronnie was the band leader, and he would bring the entire band in and basically hold them captive until they got done. It goes without saying that one of the most popular songs they ever did was Sweet Home Alabama. And the way the story goes is Bob King, who was one of the guitarists. Of course, Skinner had 2 or 3 guitarists at any moment, but Bob King was a guy. He said, "Hey, I got this lick," and he started playing the lick and everything like that. And he told, Ronnie goes, "I like that." And he said, "You guys go ahead and take a break." And they walked down to the river, and he came back 20 minutes later, and Ronnie had the whole thing arranged. Said, "Here's the words to it. Let's go." And that's how Sweet Home Alabama was born.
That's crazy. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Yeah, I never knew any of that. Okay. So now, all right. So now, do you have any songs that you could say have stayed with you forever? Like a couple of your favorite songs forever?
Well, we can go back to Skinner. I mean, I'm
Okay.
a lot more than Skinner, but a song that resonates with me is Simple Man. That song resonates with me because I really didn't gain an appreciation for the song until I became a father myself and realized where the song was coming from. It was a song from a mother to her son, and even though a father's love is the same way. And I have a son, and literally that song says everything I could ever imagine to tell my son. Like if I had 4 minutes left in my life and I had to give him parting words, that song would be pretty much
Oh,
give him everything that he would need to go through life.
oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. That was beautiful. I love it. So, wow. Why don't we give everyone a treat? We have a couple of your songs. Let's play one of them. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, producer.
Out is howling in the middle of nowhere. Life dealt a dirty hand and it just ain't fair. I take out a shovel and I pass it over to you. I light me a cigarette and take a swig or two. What made you think you can give your love away? I guess you should have warned him, that's a price to pay. I had to make you an accessory to it all. Anyone finds out, we'll both take the fall. The scarlet letter under a dawn sky. So your transgression is mighty high. Fatal attraction, not put on this shelf. Now you dig another hole for yourself. thought crosses, gave it to another man. That's a little bit more than I can stand. Just a few more hours till the morning light. Gonna take this wrong and try to make it right. A scarlet letter under the dawn sky. The price of your transgression is mighty high. A fatal attraction now put on this shelf. Now you dig another hole for yourself. Story tomorrow of a missing man. Why you ran on with that woman, try to understand. You're probably wondering why you're digging deeper than they do. Cause the last hole you ever dig was maybe two. The scarlet ladder under the dawn sky. The price of your transgression is mighty high. You can play in his arms for all eternity. So goes the story of you and me.
Okay, that was beautiful.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that. And now you can see why it's called the Dirty Strings.
Talk a little more about that song.
Yeah, so that song, a lot of the songs that I've written in the past evolve around things that have happened in my life. Also involve, the things that I do to have a good time. This song right here took a little bit of a darker twist. It's almost like I had a plot for a movie in my mind and I condensed it down to a 4-minute song. And it's one of those things where the hurt and heartbreak of what the man in the song is going through, and sometimes, unfortunately, in society, extremes become drastic. And that there were, the plot twist was both of them had to pay for it, and it was just like I said, that song is like unlike anything I've ever written before because it's outside the norm. Like I said, most of the time I write about things I know, or I write about things that I do to have fun, and this was just strictly a plot-driven song that took a step a little bit on the darker side.
So how long have you been writing songs?
Well, I was writing off and on. Like I really started writing about 15 years ago, and I really didn't start like I kind of wrote off and on for the first probably 10 years. And then the last 5 years, I've been very serious about me writing and honing my craft as a songwriter. As well as I do, a lot of times it's almost like when you have an athlete, like somebody that's athletic and they're not, like they've got the natural tools, but they have to be trained and honed to become, just say, a football player, a basketball player. That's kind of the way the whole songwriting thing has evolved with me. I've learned so much over the years, and then and I certainly have a lot more to learn. I mean, I think that's one of those things where you need to learn over the course of your life. But that's kind of way my songwriting career is really taken.
So I love to ask songwriters this question.
Sure.
What usually comes first for you? The lyrics? Do you just like wake up with this melody in your head and you're like, oh, I want to write this? Or what usually comes first for you?
Well, with me, I there's most songwriters they say they can classify one way or the other. Doesn't mean they're exclusive in it. I more classify myself as a lyricist. I would say, generally most of the time, I would say 70% of the time, the lyrics come to me first, and then I put them to music. But sometimes I play a lick, and I'm just like, that's a cool lick, and I'll play the lick through, and I'll listen to it. I'm like, okay, what kind of emotion does this elicit? What does it make me think about? What does that music make me think about? And then I start writing to it. So, generally speaking, I take more of a lyricist approach. But if I'm just sitting around playing and something really hits me, sometimes I'll arrange it. So that's generally what my approach is.
That's pretty cool. Because I'm also a poet. I'm going to be reading a poem here today. But I always, people ask me, like, do you have a story? And then all of a sudden you just put it to paper. I'll always have, for me anyway, I'll always have a subject matter first.
Absolutely.
I'll always have a subject matter first. But I have a pad and a pen in my car because I remember one day I'm driving and all of a sudden something just popped into my head, pulled over, and I wrote it down because I'll forget, And
Right.
then I went home that night and I wrote a poem about whatever it was that thought was.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this right now, Jerry. This phone right here is full of unwritten songs, just concepts, whether it's what I'm feeling at that certain time or something pops into my head, or even a simple hook. If it's one of those fun songs and you have a hook for a song, you put it in the phone or in my notes, and I put it in there. Or even if I sometimes I have an emotion that's elicited, or I have something that happens or something comes to my mind, and I even have a couple of lines of lyrics, and I'll just audio record it, and that way I don't forget that. And a lot of times when I sing it, that melody will help drive the music. Now, I've actually had, we talked about before, which comes first, the lyrics. And I've actually had a hook that's come into my mind for a couple of lines of music or a chorus or something. And what I'll do is I'll go back and listen to myself a cappella sing it, and then I put the music to it all together, and then I write it. So, the way that you write poetry is very, very, has a lot of similarities to the way I write music.
But here's the difference. I am not musically inclined at all, and I can't even imagine learning notes. And I just look at you guys like you're from another planet, okay? That you guys actually do this and write music. I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
Well, and I'm not, and in terms of writing and actual notes and stuff, I'm not by any stretch a polished composer.
Right.
I can get a generalization of notes, structures, and things of that nature. But I've got great resources behind me to lean on. I'll play the song. I don't chart anything. I've got somebody that really chart, and they may say, well, what if we kind of did this right here? We did this right here. We did this right here. Kind of pre-production stuff. So it's the music side of it is something that I'm learning every single day as well, not just the songwriting side.
So now, did you ever take lessons playing a guitar, singing, any of that?
I've never taken a lesson in my life.
Self-taught.
Self-taught guitar, self-taught vocalist.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's where I say I've got room to get better, because there's professionals out there that can, might be able to get something that's untapped out of me, and as a matter of fact, the song we just listened to, A Fatal Attraction, when I originally did the song and I set the demo, Paula Ann mentioned it to me. My publisher, Tough Duck Records, that does my distribution and everything, they mentioned it to me. And even when we got into the studio with Jeff Huskins, which is, he's an amazing producer, an amazing engineer over at BMG Nashville. And they both said, we like the demo, everything's good, but if you would soften it up and really work on the vocalization in terms of, they said that there's parts in that song you can tell it evokes anger, and that's where that gravel comes. But there's solemn parts of that song, and their advice was awesome. And I know that Paul Ann wants to strangle me sometimes because my natural inhibition is to go to that gravelly, aggressive type of thing. But that's not needed every single time. And with her advice and with Jeff's advice and Chuck Freeman's advice over at Tough Duck, they've really helped tap in and make me more of a well-rounded vocalist, if you will.
Okay, I understand that. Okay, that's pretty cool. But I still love the fact that you're self-taught. Wow.
Yeah, and the thing about it is I picked up the guitar. I was living right outside of Nashville, believe it or not. And the way this whole thing started for me as a songwriter and as a guitarist, or not just a guitarist but an artist, because I do dabble with a couple of other instruments as well. But the way it started was, I actually was working just south of Nashville, and it turns out the circles I started running around were just great musicians and everything. They were songwriters. They were people that were in the recording industry at MTSU, which is a world-renowned, it's basically the Harvard, if you will, of recording industry. And they, I got surrounded by these people, and they heard me sing, and they said, you've really got something. And I said, well, I've never learned anything. And they said, well, do you play any instruments? I said, no. And they said, well, why don't you pick a guitar up and see what can happen? And then 3 or 4 months later, I was getting comfortable on the guitar and was singing, and it just kind of evolved from there. It was all by chance. It wasn't something that at the time I looked, but once I got into it, I absolutely fell in love with performing music. I'd always loved music, just listening and as a fan, but like I said, it's just something that kind of just fell in my lap.
I love the way you say guitar.
Guitar.
Okay. What other instruments do you play?
Well, at a younger age, I played the saxophone. I have not played the saxophone in many, many, many years. I am working and playing the keyboard a little bit.
Okay.
Or keyboard piano, because I'm finding that it really helps me in terms of the songwriting process. I'm not a performance keyboard player by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm finding it's helping me out to find those notes. It's easier to walk up to a keyboard and do that and do some structure stuff and everything. And I have played a little bit of bass, but when I say a little bit, not a lot at all.
Okay. So why don't we play your second track, and then you'll talk about it. Here we go.
Sure.
I'm at the bottom of the cooler, and I throw the last one back. I head down to the Quagmire to get me another rag. The woman at the church house, she asked me why I drank. I said I like the way it makes me feel, and it costness in a string. Oh, I'm the kind of guy gonna be his own man. They ask me why I live this way, I tell them 'cause I can. 100 times I bet on love, and 100 times I lost. My friends, they all ask me, is it hurting worth the cost? Something about the feeling of a woman's warm embrace, and the thing about good loving, it can't be replaced. Oh, I don't give a damn, so you know where I stand. They ask me why I love this way, I tell them 'cause I can. Size 13s are all mine, I walk in them as I please. I know my friends and family down on bended knees. I just let them say their piece, and then I let them pass. But if they try to change my way, I tell them kiss my ass. Oh, On these two legs, I'm gonna sing. They ask me why I live this way. I tell them 'cause I can. They ask me why I live this way. I tell them 'cause I can. Tell them 'cause I can. Oh, I tell them 'cause I can. Tell them 'cause I can.
All right, that's pretty cool. Come on, tell us about this song.
So this song is basically, when you talk about the evolution of becoming a smart ass, that's what this song's about.
That's why I
No,
giggled.
yeah, you kind of get it. You talked about it earlier with your book and everything. No, it's just one of those things where, sometimes people freely tell you what they feel like you should be doing, the way you should be living your life. And the fact of the matter is that, over the course of time, I would say earlier in my life, I was more of a people pleaser. I wanted to, but I evolved over time to where, I didn't feel like I needed to be apologetic about anything just because it didn't fit their perceived narrative for my life. I'm the only one that can dictate that let me rephrase that. I'm the only one that should be dictating the narrative in my life. And that's what this song is about. You appreciate the love from, the people that care about you. And it's not like I don't listen, but if they have no way of understanding the things that make me happy, or the things that drive me through my life and everything like that. And that's what this song is really about. They ask me why I do the things that I do. I tell them it's because I can. And I don't really, I know it's kind of brash, but that's kind of the way it comes off. And, that song right there, the story of that song, that's the very first song that I released as a single. I co-produced it with my friend Justin Henson, and, Tough Duck Music distributed it, and worked with some local studios, Loud and Clear in Paducah, Kentucky, and then Wes Henley over in Jackson at Highland House Records. That was really the first soiree into me getting my music out there. And so I learned a lot through this project. And luckily, that song as well as A Fatal Attraction both hit number one on independent country radio, on Cruising Country Radio. I think they're both still in the top 5 right now. I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but to release the first song and it be kind of something of your own invention from beginning to end, and to have that was the confidence I really needed to push forward and just kind of reach a little higher.
Yeah, that's really good. You're right. I understand that. I think everybody can resonate with that, And I wish people would reach a little higher.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing is that, I woke up one day and I just stopped to really just ponder what are the things I've been able to do so far. And it really amazed me. I by no stretch of the imagination a household name, or I'm not a star or anything like that. But to even be able to do it at the level that I'm doing right now, I've always said that if it doesn't get any better than this, I still got it pretty darn good. And that's the way I look at it. But just because I look at it that way doesn't mean that I'm satisfied either. I want to absolutely push the highest of my potential to see what can come of it.
That's pretty cool. I think it's time I read a poem out of my book now, and you're going to be surprised. It's kind of sort of about what you were just talking about, reaching your levels and all that, all right? So
Sure.
This poem I wrote is called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. And
Wow.
I love reading this when I do musicians especially, or creative people, because a lot of people out there message me during my shows and after my shows, and they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could sing like him. I wish I could sing like her. I wish I could write like you, And you know what, Justin? I want everybody out there to know that everyone has a gift to offer. They just have to figure out what it is and then utilize it and do what you're doing, right? And
Right.
it's important because we all need to be able to do something. So, guys, if you're struggling with your self worth or if you think that you don't have anything to offer, I wrote this poem for you, so please listen to all the words. Utilizing gifts and talents. We are born with talents, we are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used, God's gift to us not be abused. We can go far in life for sure using our gifts to go on tour, like this guy's doing. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score, like this guy's doing. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. So don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self-destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, your name, Justin Wright, baby, will live forever, forever and a day. So go through life excited for what you sure can give. To yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. So make sure people smile with the breaking dawn. And, you know, Justin, that's what you're doing. And you just,
That's beautiful.
thank you. And you just said, if this is where it stops, this is it, like you're happy, think about that. Think about that, okay? What you've done to achieve what you've achieved. And it's going to go more. Believe me, it's going higher. But you have a great outlook on what you're doing. And I love the fact that you don't stop. So don't.
Yeah. Well, I greatly appreciate that. And, you know, one of the things that everybody has their way of expressing themselves. Your poetry, you obviously do a amazing job of using your poetry as a means of expression.
Yep.
And, you know, to a certain degree, you know, my songs are an expression as well. But what I want to do is I want people to gain more inspiration about the way that I go about doing my music and the things about being gracious to those people that are willing to help you attain your goals. You know, I've named several people today that have helped me attain my goals. You know, I live in rural Northwest Tennessee, and they're phenomenal musicians around here, and a good many of them are younger than I am. And I'm asked all the time, you know, for advice and things of that nature. And your poem there literally says what I tell them is that you can't you are given a gift, and you can't cut corner. You don't need to cut corners. You need to let that be a reflection of you, and you owe it to yourself, not just to yourself, but you owe it to all those people that gain inspiration, that will gain inspiration from you to be the best version of you can be. And you know, because I tell people, I said, if you're not doing it to the fullest extent, you're not just hurting yourself, but you're hurting those people that could be inspired by it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you just described my poem. And that's what you're telling people, and that's just so incredible. And you're right. I love it. Wow.
Yeah, I tell people this. I don't tell people how to do their music. I don't tell them, you know, you should change this, you could do this. I'm not a producer because you know your sound, you know what you want to get. I don't know that. Your freedom of expression, the way you express is yours. It's not mine. But what I do is I tell people this, as I say, if you want to get it out there and you want to maximize your scope, you want to be an inspiration to people, this is the way I go about my business.
I love it.
From an artistic standpoint, I very rarely give advice on the artistic side to musicians. I give advice to them about how can they maximize their talents.
That's great. So, Justin, how can people get your music?
Yeah, so we're on all streaming platforms. The major ones: um, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube Music. We're on there as well. I think they said we're on somewhere like 75 to 85 platforms throughout the world. So I mean, our music, is being picked up all over. In Europe, Australia. Actually, I think it's where they said is Australia has picked it up quite a bit, and so it can be picked up there. You can go to justinwrightmusic.com. That's my website. It's got links to all that, as well as upcoming shows and things of that nature. Of course, I'm on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Justin Wright Music. Instagram, Justin Wright Music Official, and then Justin Wright Music on TikTok as well.
So, before we, come to the closing, I want to give you the mic one more time, and I want you to forget if there was anything else you wanted to talk about or say. The mic is yours.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about, my evolution as an artist and the people that have inspired me. What I have not done is I haven't talked about the band that's behind me. Greg Fry, Aaron Pilkington, David Faulkner, and Lynn Alexander. And then I also want to give a shout out to a couple of them that are not with us anymore, but they're doing their thing musically. Justin Butler and Tina D. Williams. Want to give a shout out to them because they're the ones that really push me every single day. They're the ones that have helped the sound evolve to what it sounds like. Want to absolutely give a shout out to them. Of course, we've already talked about Paul Ann over to Blaze Entertainment. Give a shout out to Chuck Freeman over at Tough Duck Music as well. And, all my sponsors, Rowdy Brands, my apparel sponsor. A big shout out to them. Thank you so much. They try to keep me suited and booted on stage, and certainly helps out. So
That's great. So I want to thank you for honoring me with this really cool interview. All right. I'm going to be talking about the dirty strings a lot now. Okay. I'm going to be
sure.
Yes, and I'm going to act like I really know what I'm talking about. All right.
I gotcha. Well, we do, and I do need to go ahead and say this. We do have some new music that'll be coming out after the first of the year. Still, of course, we're playing out to the end of the year. We're not playing as many shows because, as a songwriter, you do have to make sure you catalog your songs properly. That way, when it comes time to go to the studio or somebody wants to hear some of your content that may be considering you. So I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 songs right now that I'm having to get in the studio to cut demos for. Just really kind of loading up for a big 2025 because I think that's kind of been the goal the whole time, that it takes really a year to start build your brand. And then after that, you start, leveraging that. So.
Well, my producer will be playing these two songs for you on Hamilton Radio. Okay, Doc G, say something to Justin.
Yeah, Justin, I absolutely love both songs. I think the second one, I think that is more of like a Skynyrd influence, but I love it. I love all of them. They're really great. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what's crazy is that, when 'Cause I Can came out, people said, but people would ask, well, what genre of music do you play? And I was like, I really don't, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know where to kind of put it. I mean, like I said before, Nashville and the country radio has really opened their arms up to some of the stuff I've done. And, what I just generally tell people is, alternative country, if you will, an alt country type of sound. So
very cool.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Listen, Paula, Ann, and I have been trying to do a lot of things. I think you're one of the persons that missed one of the interviews, but we're going to be rescheduling you for the interview on my, with me on my station. So this is Geri's show, so that's the difference. But you're going to be heard and seen a lot on this station, which is great.
Yes.
A lot of eyes are going to be on you, Justin, and we wish you a lot of luck, where you're going.
Absolutely. Well, I sure do appreciate it. I appreciate everything you do for not just me, for all of the Blaze artists out there, because we're the Blaze Entertainment. We're a family. We want to make sure that all of those other artists that are with the Blaze, we're all pulling for each other.
Yes.
And places like Hamilton Radio and the things that you guys do for the independent artists, because you guys know as well as I do, is that independent artist is looking for a way to get their stuff out there. And the fact that you guys give a vehicle for not just a Blaze artist, for other artists of all types, whether it's poets, musicians, or anybody that's just out there doing their thing that really wants to be heard and seen. It's an amazing thing you guys are doing, and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, Justin.
Our pleasure.
So, all right. So I want everybody out there to share this, please. This is Justin Wright. He's amazing. And the Dirty Strings, guys. Okay? Haha, I said it. And we're going to be on iHeartRadio next week as well, the audio of this. And I'll let you know when that will be. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And Justin, thank you again. You're amazing. And
Thank you so much.
And keep going, boy. All right? Here we go. Producer, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
It's really true, is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.